is to take more risks. And I know that sounds counterintuitive because you want to minimize risk, but actually taking more calculated risk is what's going to allow you to grow a lot sooner in your business and in your personal life, right? There is a ratio between risk and reward. So I'm not saying just take random, uncalculated risks just to take it. It's about really analyzing the board and being like, you know what? Here's a risk that I'm willing to take. Here's the downside of it. And if I can just do this over time, systematically, I can get a very strong return based on the risk that I'm taking in my business and my personal life.
Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life. We want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. Welcome back to another episode here on Hacks and Hobbies. Today we get to speak with Ace Karimi. Hey Ace, thanks so much for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Junaid. How's everything going?
Everything's good, man. Super excited to bring you on the podcast, learn a little bit about you, and share with the audience your journey and where you come from and how you built your company and your business.
Absolutely. So would you like me to make an introduction?
Yeah, let's walk through memory lane, rediscover your origin story, and share with the audience where you come from and a little bit of your background.
Please. So are you still able to hear me well here? I just want to make sure.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, great. So my background, so when I was 5 years old, my family and I fled as refugees from Afghanistan. I was a young kid. I have very faint memories. And the earliest memory I do have is hearing a blast at a nearby building and my father rushing over to come and cover me. And then next thing you know, I'm waking up, feels like a bad dream that kind of recurs from time to time.
Yeah.
It was waking me up and shaking me. It's wake up, you're on the yellow school bus now. So it's kind of strange, recurring dreams. I know there's patterns to that. And that's all I remember, because my dad was in the military. He was a sergeant in the military. But even him, my family side, my mom's side of the family was the ones that were fleeing. So my dad had to leave his side of the family and we had to leave with my mom's side. And so he left his whole family behind. Very tough for him. I grew up in America outside of Washington, D.C. I was blessed, major blessings growing up. I was a problem child growing up. And, after I graduated college, I went to start my business. And then that's when my real growth and my real journey started. During that phase, I went through a lot of darkness, a lot of negativity, a lot of generational limitations, a lot of these things you're told growing up, that kind of fall in your face, and me having to overcome those things was really part of my story, to be honest, overcoming these generational wounds and healing and getting over the trauma to now building a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio and having, a really strong, solid business.
How'd you get introduced to the real estate business, and what was some of the inspirations between stepping into this space?
So it's funny, out of college, my first business was marketing. I was always into marketing. I thought that was going to be the future. Clearly it seems like we are in that time frame. Everything's about content and online marketing nowadays. I wish the stuff I learned in school were more applicable to that and not just traditional marketing knowledge that has existed forever. But in that marketing business, I had a real estate client. My partner and I have a business partner. We had a real estate client and we saw the way they were conducting business. And they were making really good money. And we were doing all the hard work for them. We were doing all the marketing. And we're like, hey, we can do this ourselves. Why not? Right. So, the guy wasn't really treating us the best anyway. So we're like, why don't we just go out and just try to do one deal ourselves anyway? Then, we were providing all the leads for him, everything up front. And then he was really just giving us scraps. So we ended up leaving and starting our own business. And that's how we got into marketing.
Real estate. Marketing to real estate. Yeah. And how has the marketing or the real estate business has been kind of crazy for the past few years? How have you gone through keeping your head up?
So People have
Like,
been really spoiled, man, the last like 5, 6 years in the real estate business.
mhm.
I will say that. I made a transition. So I moved over from single family into multifamily and commercial real estate in 2020. That was after the pandemic hit, which is
Mhm.
questionably the worst time to get involved because there's all the scare and caution involved.
Yeah.
But for my partner and I, it was one of the best decisions we ever made. And we did it before the rents kind of started skyrocketing over the last 12 months. We came in, we got a few really solid deals at very strong price points. And even then, I think there's always deals in every market
Yeah.
cycle, every city across the country. I think that the timing is definitely important. But if you know how to buy, and you buy at really solid price points, I think you'll always be secure in real estate.
Yeah, real estate is a pretty lucrative space because you're dealing with a finite space in this world, right? It's a finite space. It's not
Yeah.
continually growing, but the value is something that's continually growing based on where this property might be located.
Yeah. Well, what have you had your fair dealings of real estate with, Junaid?
Well, I'm not that much into real estate, but I was interested back in 2018. I took this course through, I think it was Response, and they were basically teaching how to go and get deals and get into real estate. But I was like, I'm more tech minded. Like I'm all around the tech marketing, development, and stuff like that space, and not really going after deals. And my uncle has, he's got his real estate license. Some of my aunts and uncles back in California, they're also, into real estate. And they're always asking me, okay, how do I market this? Like, there's always a question of how do I market, my listings, or how do I get more customers? And so from one perspective, it's a lucrative space if you can get the right clients and right clientele and the sales. But then from the other's perspective, you really have to know like a lot to, be able to succeed. In fact, my cousin ran a mortgage business
Hmm.
back in 2007, 2008. And when that thing came down, he had to shut down his mortgage company as well. So there's a little bit
Yeah.
of inkling here and there on what what real estate is, and it's always something really interesting. Like my
Yeah.
parents were in town the other day, and my dad's like, "Yeah, we bought these plots and properties in Pakistan, and they got swallowed up by landlords and whatnot, or so they just didn't have a good experience in dealing with real estate." I'm like, well, you really need to talk to the right person and get educated before you step into the market.
I agree. It really is. I mean, you said something earlier, which is very accurate. Like, there's a lot that you should be able to learn and know. And the way that I was able to get all the knowledge that I got, especially at my early age, is I learned from mentors.
Yeah.
Like you really do need to be able to take the knowledge from somebody who's been doing it for decades and then shortcut that time frame.
Yeah.
And there's only one way to do that is through somebody else. You can go through decades of heartache and mistakes, but it's just, it's painful. Why would you go through
Yeah.
that kind of pain?
Yeah.
So I've always invested into mentors and invested very heavily. Like I can't go a single year without hiring a mentor or a coach to help me because every time I've
Yeah.
done it, not only have I gotten an insane return on my investment, but I've just, got a way faster blueprint that saved me time. I
You're
could sit.
you're 100% correct. Either you spend the time and the heartache, and then
Yeah,
you get burned, and you're like, okay, and I'm not going to take any more risks, right?
exactly.
Or you go the tried and true route where like, hey, I'm making, like, the mentors or the experts, they've got decades of experience because they've learned
Mhm.
from their mentors and successful experience. I mean, Grant Cardone sells his book on how you can buy property without spending any money. I was like, wait, how is that even possible? But having connections that can enable you to get to that level of deals is where it all comes down to. It's not who you know or who's doing it. It's like who is actually doing it effectively and how can they train me in being successful in this space.
Yeah, like it's always been like that, you know. That's always how every sort of new success has occurred,
Yeah.
right? I mean, people, there's secrets in the business. There's secrets in every trade. Your job is to get in on those secrets
Mm-hmm.
so that you don't miss out on the, effects of not having those secrets.
Yeah.
Every one of those secrets is worth a lot of money. And so, we live in a beautiful age where you can just pay for mentorship, from
Yeah.
somebody who's doing it, who's actually doing it themselves. So I think, yeah,
No, you're absolutely right. And it's easy to find. I don't know if it's easy to find the mentors, but it's always harder. Like there's always an investment that even a beginner has to put in. And if you think about it, right, people go to college and they pay 250, 100, I don't know what the
crazy.
cost is, right? Anywhere from 60 grand
Yeah,
a year to $200,000 for their college degree, where all they're learning is how to do different things in different spaces. But if you were to spend that same amount of money to a mentor who's in a successful business, guess what? You're going to get way faster results helping you come up.
exactly. I remember reading a statistic that said, like the Ivy League schools, like Wharton School of Business, costs like 125 grand a year
Mm-hmm.
for enrollment. And I'm like, what do you get? A diploma, a job?
Yeah.
It's gonna take you forever. That's like $500,000 that you have to pay back over 4 years.
Yeah.
Where's the return? Most jobs are not paying you that much out the gate. You have to become an executive at a company in order to get paid the big bucks. So the return to risk ratio doesn't make any sense, and people don't think
No.
about when they go into these degrees, and especially for business, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. That and you're absolutely accurate. There's a huge convergence, or there's a huge movement, because the education system, and we're kind of going off topic, but the education system was designed over 150 years ago for a specific, they
Yeah.
wanted specific types of workers, but the world and economy that we're living in right now,
Mhm.
it's completely different. Like anybody
Mhm.
can become, well off if they find their niche, find their passion, and push, go all the way through it.
It's true. I mean, we can go deep with it. I know you want to take this podcast a certain direction, so I'll let you do that. But the education system is the biggest problem in this country. I can
Mhm.
definitely agree with that. If it actually worked, people wouldn't be in crush loading amounts of debt, for one. Number two, they would have way better personal finances.
Mhm.
Credit card debt would be through the roof. People would be able to actually create wealth for themselves and at least have the basic skills to go and make money, which
Yeah.
is not taught in school, right? Sales, real marketing, ability to go and persuade, and more importantly, to go and buy assets. These are not taught in school. They don't
Nope.
teach you how to go and buy and invest in a stock market, or to buy real estate, or to buy properties. These are the skills that's going to allow you to take care of yourself and your family,
Yeah.
but they leave all that out. It's insane to me how they have been getting away with this for decades now.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the greatest conspiracy of all.
Amen, man. Amen to that. So let's refocus on what we're actually. I mean, that we can go. We definitely need to do another episode on that topic, but because there's a lot of people that have gone through the system, like, oh my god, this is not fun. This is not. And yeah, never mind. So the topic that we want to focus on, and you've talked about how you came up from, you were a refugee, came to the US, and you were able to climb out of darkness and buy millions of dollars in real estate. Tell me, what was the turning point in where all of this kind of fall into place? And you kind of gave us a little bit of that, but what was the defining moment?
It's interesting. It's a really good question. Like the defining moment for me when things started changing and turning around was when we really had our backs against the wall. Like that's what I remember.
Mm,
At a certain point, like you're kind of falling deeper and deeper into the hole, right?
yeah.
Like you're trying your hardest to climb up, but you're actually falling down. You're actually falling behind way more. And it's kind
Mm,
of crazy how that works. It's like You're doing everything you can. It's like, man, I'm trying. Why is nothing working? You're getting into more debt. It doesn't seem to be getting any better. And if anything, more problems are coming your way. And at a certain point, it's almost like you can't go any lower. Like you actually do hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And rock bottom, in one regard, it's like, I can't go any lower. I can't go any worse. And your back's really against the wall, man. And it's like, I have no choice at this point. And I think that's what happened to us. Like, because I remember I'm like, I just didn't have an option anymore. It wasn't even a state to even think anymore. It's like, dude, I just got to move. I just got to act. And I just got to do whatever it takes to climb out of this hole now. That's the only thing I was worried about at that point. It wasn't even to get rich anymore. It's like, dude, I got to get out of this hole. And then it's funny, as you start finding ways to climb out of the hole, then you just start realizing, oh, those are the skills, the mindsets, and the abilities that it takes to climb all the way up. And so that's what happens. Like once you start getting out of the hole in that darkness, then you realize like, wow, like you just keep going and going and going. And the way the world works is asymmetric, right? It's not like a straight line. Nothing works like you actually go a little bit of progress, and then you dip down very low into the ground, and then you skyrocket up. That's literally like every successful story I've seen.
That's right.
But when you're going through it, you can't connect those dots until you look back. And I had to go through that experience in order to learn what it takes to create the life that I truly desire.
I love that, man. All right, let's take a quick 5-minute break, and then when we get back, we're going to Ace is going to share 3 hacks to take away for the superpreneurs listening to this episode.
I'm Junaid Ahmed, host of Hacks and Hobbies podcast and a digital presence advisor at HumbleZone. This episode is brought to you by Home Studio Mastery. I launched a consultation and course program to help podcasters and course creators to create a space in their homes that'll reduce the friction of creating content and appearing their best when showing up on camera. The pandemic gave us a lot of issues, but this one is here to stay. We're now so much closer to our audience thanks to video becoming more popular and affordable. I help guide folks who want to create Hollywood-worthy studios to not only capture great content, but also build more confidence, more authority, and be more comfortable in front of the camera. If I can do it, you can too. And with my help, you can do it faster. So if you'd like to learn more, visit homestudiomastery.com and how you too can create a home studio that brings out your personality, professionalism, and possibilities. Hey guys, welcome back. We've been speaking with Ace Karimi. He's an amazing real estate investor. He's had his moments in the market from going and hitting rock bottom to climbing the walls like he mentioned earlier. Dude, it's so fun. You said you have 3 hacks to share for the audience for somebody who's in entrepreneurship and business, what they should be focusing on or they can implement in their business.
So yeah, great question, Junaid. So number 1 hack I would tell entrepreneurs to implement in their business is to take more risks. And I know that sounds counterintuitive because you want to minimize risk, but actually taking more calculated risks is what's going to allow you to grow a lot sooner in your business and in your personal life, right? There is a ratio between risk and reward. So I'm not saying just take random, uncalculated risks just to take it. It's about really analyzing the board and being like, you know what? Here's a risk that I'm willing to take. Here's the downside of it. And if I can just do this over time, systematically, I can get a very strong return based on the risk that I'm taking in my business and my personal life. So I always tell people, don't be afraid to take risks. It's never as bad as you think it is. And the worst thing that can happen is you lose your ass and then you just go bankrupt. But then again, you can start back from scratch. But hack number 2 is to think bigger. So often, like we think we're playing the right game, but what we're really doing is we're playing the game that we're normally used to playing. We're playing in our comfort zone. And it's like, unless you take a step back and look at the forest from the trees and realize, hey, this isn't like the bigger game. I'm just being comfortable right now. Never make progress on the actual life that you truly want to live. Right? Everything is the same, whether you're at 10 million or at 1 million or 100 million, believe it or not. The only thing difference is the zeros. and maybe an
Right.
extra comma. So get into the bigger game sooner, whatever game that is in your life. Like you look back and you realize like, wow, it really was not that different. Me personally, when I jumped from like 6-figure deals to 7-figure deals in real estate, I realized it really wasn't that different. In fact, it
Right.
was easier because there was more people involved that could help.
Mm,
You know, like just like how Rome wasn't built by one person, it
right.
was by an entire colony of people.
Yeah.
It's the same way that works on bigger deals, bigger corporations. There's more people, so you're not alone. It's when you're alone that it's hard, and
Yes.
because it's a smaller size deal. And then number three, I would always tell people to invest into mentorship and to coaches. The greatest people that ever lived always had mentors and coaches. It's
Yeah.
literally one of my core values and principles, and that's what allowed me to level up in the short term that I have. It's I went and sought them out. It's not like they just came. I went and sought them out. I said
You
I
have
want
to.
somebody to help me with my health and fitness. Went and hired somebody this year. It was an area that I was lacking in my life.
Hmm.
For the past 4 years, I've always hired a business and life coach. They've helped me take the hacks they've gotten and implement it directly into my life. And it's literally one of the greatest things because now I don't need to be a genius. I
Yeah.
have geniuses around me that are helping me out, and it's making me look like the smart one. So always invest in mentors.
I love that, man. Those are those amazing 3 hacks. And to piggyback on having geniuses around you, that's exactly what Henry Ford said. I don't need
Really?
to know everything. I have 100 people and a phone number to call them immediately on whatever it is that I need help with. So having people around us is absolutely so much better than depending on your own intellect, because you are where you are because we depended on our own intellect.
I like that quote. I'm gonna have to take that one.
Take it, man. Take it away. I love, some of the things that you've been able to do, like buying a 72 unit property worth 10 million for only $400. And that's the calculated type of risk that you probably mentioned in in our first hack. Is you had enough education, knowledge, and people around you that were able to make that deal happen for you.
Yeah. I invested in the mentorship first to actually learn the blueprint to do a deal like that. There's no way I
Yeah.
would have been able to go into a 72 unit multi-million dollar property without any knowledge of what I was doing. And a lot of people make that mistake. Like I talk to people nowadays and they look at
Mhm.
me and they're like, oh, he did it, so I can do it, which is part right? Like that's a good belief.
Yeah.
But I actually paid for the blueprint to figure that exact parts of how to do it.
Yeah.
You haven't. And so you're going to struggle to learn it the hard way through and through. Whereas, I went and got it by investing into myself.
I love that. All right, man. Let's jump into the rapid fire questions. And then towards the end, we can ask how people can reach you and help.
Yeah.
And you can help them make those $400 deals or
I
multi-million
can't
dollar
pro-
deals, right?
I can't promise $400 deals.
Of
but we'll
course
see.
not. Of course not. All right. What is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
One hobby I wish I got into, that's a really good one. I wish I got more into physical combat sports earlier on in my life.
Mm,
Some sort of mixed martial arts,
Yeah.
boxing, jujitsu,
yeah.
karate. Like I think it teaches you a lot. You're around the right people, and it gives you the values that you need to succeed in life.
Amen. That is so true. It helps you conquer your own mind and your own desires, right? Because there's so much self-control required to be able to, get out there.
Yeah, and it's also nice to know that you can kick anyone's butt if they even lay a hand on you. My friend does that to me a lot. He always tries to test me all the time. Like the second I put a hand on him, he's automatically trying to get you into a position to like.
Oh my
beat you.
God, that's too funny.
Yeah, you know how those alpha competitive guys are.
Yes, of course. All right, number 2, what did you want to be when you were a child?
I wanted to be a professional soccer player, but sadly that dream died after I finished high school. I was like, I'm not good enough.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So you probably played a lot of football or a lot of soccer growing up.
I played a lot. I played for 12 years. I've played
Wow.
soccer more than I've done anything else in my life, which is crazy. I played soccer more than I've been an entrepreneur. So
Wow.
it's crazy. Like if people actually thought about how much time they spent on certain activities in their life, and they
Mhm.
literally transitioned that over into their business or their career,
Yeah.
imagine how successful they could be,
Amen. Amen. I
you
mean,
know?
and probably that's one of the reasons why you put importance into mentorship, because when you go through soccer, you're playing
Yeah.
sports, you have a coach
Yeah.
every single practice, every single game. So you see that mentality, that mindset. Oh my God, he's telling me how to be a better player. So now that you're in adult life, so if you think about it, you would not have hired any mentors or invested in that if you hadn't gone through those 12 years of soccer,
Exactly.
right? What is your favorite movie or TV show?
You know, I'm gonna sound like a complete nerd saying this, but I've canceled my Netflix subscription recently, so I haven't watched anything. And because I
Sure.
haven't watched anything, nothing's coming to my mind. But I'll tell you, growing up, I used to love watching Dragon Ball Z. That was my
Oh yeah,
show. The anime
that's
shows were the best, man.
yeah. No, I totally see that. Growing up, I watched something called Grandizer. This was back in
Uh,
Saudi Arabia, and it was
okay.
complete anime, and I had no idea what anime meant till I came to the US. Like, I probably heard the word anime
Yeah.
15 years ago, and that's what I'd been consuming as a child. I grew up in Saudi.
Nice. That's awesome, bro. Yeah, see, look, they have it in every country, bro. Was the best shows, man.
It is. It's absolutely the best. All right, next up, what movie would you choose if you got to play a character in it?
What movie would I choose if I could play the character in it?
Yeah.
Man, that's a really good one. I have to say The Dark Knight. I gotta
Oh
be
yeah.
Batman.
Dark Knight is one of the best. I was just watching Infinity War with Iron Man, and he's in the fight with Hulk, and he's wearing Hulk Buster, and he sees this building, and he's like, Jarvis, how fast can we buy this building? As he crashes the Hulk into the building. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. All right. Next up, who is your favorite superhero?
Batman.
Batman. Yeah, babe. Last one. If you were a board game, what would it be?
Yes.
Nice. I like the answers. All right, Ace, thank you so much for your time, man. This was so much fun. Where can us superpreneurs find you, and how can they expect learning from you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at ace.invest. Reach out to me if you're interested to learn how we did our real estate deals. If you want to get started doing them yourself and you want to raise money and you want to go and do these deals, we do have a program. DM me. I can get you all the details. We can get on a call, give you the full strategy, give you the full high level breakdown, and show you exactly how we did it. Then you can implement it into your system.
Mhm.
Or B, if you're also a passive investor, maybe you don't want to do any of the work. Maybe you have a job, you have a lot of responsibilities, and you just want to be in the real estate deals, but be a passive investor. Reach out to me as well. Just DM me passive investor, and we'll get you added to our VIP investor list.
I love it, Ace. Thank you so much for your time, man. This was a lot of fun, and we'll catch you. Yeah, man. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Thank you, Junaid. You're the man.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to this Hacks and Hobbies episode. Junaid would love to hear from you, so please leave a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts. Visit hacksandhobbies.com to find additional information on the guest today, as well as the show notes.